Resort, that's in Atlantic Beach, and as you can see, the damage is pretty extensive. You can see a tree has been torn by the winds. Also back in there, that's a car underneath the rubble. You can see it's snowing right now, but it wasn't like this earlier in the night. It was a mixture of freezing rain and sleet. And I don't know about you, Kyle, but it's my first time driving out in the snow, so I've been one of those people driving at 5 miles per hour on the road. Now, it's a bitter cold morning. I know I just took off my gloves for a second here, and I can feel that wind chill stinging on my hands. Highway Patrol says the car ran off the road to the right, hit a ditch, and kept going where you can see these tracks, and continued on until it hit this tree. And neighbors say moments after, the car caught on fire. Tried to force open this door, breaking the hinge before trying to kick open the door.
News Channel 12 Weekend Edition starts now.
Deadly house fire. News Channel 12 was on the scene as firefighters investigated what sparked the fire that killed an 80-year-old man. Good morning, Eastern Carolina. It's Sunday, March 16th. Thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Juliana Valencia. It's a beautiful day outside, but rain is on the way. Meteorologist Ellen Baca is in the Storm Track 12 Weather Center with a look at your forecast. Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning, Juliana. You're exactly right.
Fire crews battle flames and time in the fight to save a man inside a burning building. Unfortunately, the man inside did not survive. Rocking chair. Fire officials say the cause of the fire is still under investigation, but again, no foul play is suspected. A Beaufort County man who has been convicted of a dozen assaults is arrested and accused of stabbing his girlfriend. Deputies arrested 33-year-old Frankie Barnes on March 8th. They say he stabbed his girlfriend at a home on Spring Branch Road in Aurora around 8 p.m. He was charged with assault with a deadly weapon. Because of Barnes' other assault convictions, Barnes was also charged with felony habitual misdemeanor assault. A Pamlico County father and mother are accused of seriously injuring their 4-month-old baby. Investigators say they tore the girl's nostrils and broke her ribs. Heather Bennett and Thomas Batts each faced 2 felony counts of child abuse, inflicting serious bodily injury. The suspects are also accused of fracturing their baby's ribs, and the sheriff says the injury was untreated for 2 weeks. According to warrants, both incidents happened sometime between January 1st and March 6th. The baby girl is now in protective custody. Sheriff Sawyer said Bennett was charged in 2009 with felony child abuse in Harnett County, where the suspect used to live. There are some new pieces to the puzzle about that Malaysian jet that disappeared more than a week ago with 239 people aboard. The Malaysian Prime Minister has confirmed that it was not an accident. Someone on the plane tampered with the controls, raising questions about who did it and why. ABC's Chuck Silverstein reports.
The search.
Officials say they have found no link between the passengers and known terrorist groups, and that the plane could have been flown into a densely populated area if the incident was related to terrorism. NASCAR racing is coming to Eastern Carolina, sort of. The East Carolina Motor Speedway in Robertsonville is now a NASCAR-sanctioned track, but don't expect live races yet. This is the first year the speedway is labeled as what is called a home track. This basically means semi-pro drivers learning the skills to race and can move on to the next level if they're good enough. Saturday, drivers had practice at the track. One of the owners says it's a great opportunity for aspiring drivers.
It's governed by
Eastern Carolina Motor Speedway also trains young people how to race. The minimum age is 14. This year's racing season starts this Friday night. That's March 21st at 8 p.m. A single father who was diagnosed with late-stage cancer has checked one more item off his bucket list. A couple of weeks ago, we told you about Wayne Ward. Ward has stage 4 cancer in his stomach and esophagus. As a result, he made a bucket list for himself and his kids. One of the items was to meet the cast and crew from Lizard Lake Towing, a television series on True TV. Saturday, a star from Lizard Lake Towing surprised Ward at his house. News Channel 12's Kyle Horan has the story. Ward has a lot of other wishes on his list, such as going to Disneyland with his kids and even falling in love. Coming up in 2 weeks, an amateur wrestling tournament will be held in Havelock to benefit Ward and his family. For more details, head to our website, WCTI12.com. The time now is 7:09 on your Sunday morning. Coming up in a couple of minutes, Storm Track 12 meteorologist Ellen Baca is tracking a high chance for rain, but spring is right around the corner. You're watching News Channel 12, getting the facts right.
It was interesting to watch how everybody can come together and how all that practice actually worked like it's supposed to.
Derek Smith's wrecker helped pull out a Jeep out of the New River Saturday. It had run off the bridge. The victim was a Marine, Rafael Rentas Rivera, from Richlands. Smith tells me the people at the scene say Rivera was on his way to work around 6 that morning, driving over the Sewell Bridge, part of Highway 24. Something happened and Rivera's Jeep went into the water.
I mean, the roads from the snow and everything where it was cold and frosty in the morning, in my mind it would be more he had lost control of the vehicle and just went up, and when he caught the ice, it just carried him right over the side of the bridge and there was nothing he could do.
Police have not commented on the cause. The Jeep was spotted around noon yesterday. Smith says 2 chunks of ice were missing along the highway shoulder where the tires had just hit. He says when you looked over the bridge, you could see the passenger side and part of its tires just barely out of the water. The driver's side door faced the floor of New River. Crews shut down part of the highway while they worked to pull out the Jeep out of the water. Divers recovered the body, and then the work turned to the Jeep.
We lowered everything down to the divers, and they took care of hooking it up and like checking everything over, making sure everything was safe to lift it. I mean, without them there, we wouldn't have been able to get it out of the water.
Smith says the divers used this strap to run it through the roof of the car in order to lift it out. Then they attached this crane, and a Jeep is about 2 tons, and this crane is capable of carrying up to 30 tons. Keys still in the engine, window shattered, but Smith says the Jeep didn't look as bad as he'd imagined.
It looks more like a wreck you would see in the road, not something that had went off the side of a bridge or something.
In his opinion, the size of the car, the tires, its height off the ground, plus the weather were all factors in turning the shoulder of the bridge into a ramp that went from the bridge into the air. Again, police have not released a cause of the crash and haven't said that ice could have acted like a ramp. Reporting in the studio, Juliana Valencia for News Channel 12.
I just lost a pet of my life through an accident where a person can't even cross the street for M&Ms and the Skittles without getting run over. And it hurt just bad.
59-year-old Darlene Yale was killed. On a Friday night, Yale was laughing as she walked out the door to buy some candy for herself and her husband.
That was the last time I saw her.
Troopers say a pickup truck hit Yale. Her husband says she must have been leaving the store and going to see her friends at the restaurant across the street. I'm at the intersection of Riggs Road and Hubert Boulevard, and as you can see, there's a lot of traffic behind me and not a real place for pedestrians to cross. And this is where troopers say Yale was hit as she was running across the road.
When I heard those sirens, I worried death. I called and called and called, no answer.
No one picked up, but he did have a voicemail from her, sent at 7:06.
I forgot my belt and my medicine. Didn't take you long.
The accident was reported at 7:19, less than 15 minutes after the voicemail. That voicemail includes the everyday things that Greg will miss. Troopers say the driver in a pickup truck swerved to the right to try to miss her, but it was too late. The driver will not be charged. A witness to the crash says the driver ran out after he'd hit her and started screaming, crying for help. Troopers tell Greg she must have died instantly. He's upset, but says he'll never forget how happy she made him feel.
Darlene was a hilarious stand-up comedian. Nice she'd give you the shirt off her back.
For now, he just stands over the last place she laid, remembering her memory. In Onso County, Juliana Valencia, News Channel 12.
My dad was my superhero.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to work with him every day.
Owen Ray Jr. from Onso County was a Vietnam veteran who loved his family and loved to work, but he died on the job Friday afternoon. He owned a Jacksonville construction company.
When it came to heavy equipment, he was the best. It doesn't matter if I say it, if a stranger says it, you know, from the outside looking in, he was the best.
His family says he was always happy to work with his brother-in-law.
He was excited to be doing heavy equipment work because that was his huge passion.
But on this particular day, clearing out this land was his final job.
This was one of the most freak accidents I have ever seen.
A neighbor tells me it looks like a tree got stuck in the claw of the excavator, and when Owen Ray tried to pull it down, the tree landed on top of the machine.
I was near him on another machine and could not do anything about it.
A fatal accident his family wishes hadn't happened.
He didn't suffer.
However, Ray Jr. leaves behind a family that loves him and is happy he died doing what he loved.
Daddy passed away with 2 joysticks in his hand, running the excavator, feet on the pedals. Wouldn't have had it any other way.
The family tells me Ray Jr. was well known in the Jacksonville community and was always there to lend a helping hand. Reporting in the studio, Juliana Valencia, Fox Eastern Carolina News.